Am I looking here or looking at you? Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. It's hot. Okay. How you guys doing? Anybody have a big, heavy rainstorm right now? Everybody dry?
Rain somewhere. Don't know.
A lot of rain. Louisiana. I thought Louisiana having a lot of rain lately. Okay, good. You on the dry side. Good. Uh, Today is a topic that everybody's have been showing lots of pest and disease, and I thought maybe we can kind of refresh the. I know I has mentioned a lot of this at different genre or different particular plant, but this can let's do a little bit overview about this the summer, especially how to prevent pest and disease. And how many of you have a lot of mite and drip problem on Phalaenopsis this year? I know Elaine have a big problem over there. Anybody have problem with the mite this year? Even indoor, under light? I know I have some really bad. We got minibot under control because we always have to spray for minibot here because we have thousands and thousands of plants. So we actually, in the summertime, we have a pesticide applicator. Myself, I have a pesticide application license, so I know my stuff. So I usually review with my pesticide guy and the rotation, what to use, and one on the pesticide. And many of you know I do not use hardcore fungicide, but I do use the Physan as a preventative program. For those of you are new to with us, at our nursery, we do not use any hardcore fungicide. When I say hardcore fungicide, that a lot of the fungicide on the market, they really don't eliminate any fungus. And one of the reasons we don't use hardcore fungicide because a lot of not all the fungi or fungus are bad. There are good fungi. So there's good fungi in the air or in the water. It's actually going to suppress the bad one. So when you use the fungicide on a lot of the new classification, they kill everything. It's sort of like cancer treatment. They kill everything. Okay, so but a lot of time plant in the wild, okay, in the DNA, they can have a system to have an immune system to fight against those fungi, or possibly even the population of the pests also. So we use a teaspoon per gallon of water once a month. We drench everything in the nursery, when we drain as a watering, okay? But the only time, if you have a big, let's say monsoon, you have a coastal area, she got a lot of rain. Okay, if you have a monsoon or typhoon coming out in South Florida, knock on wood, the minute the dry, your rain season finish, even though your plant might be wet, maybe your plant is not wet because you have cover, but there's a lot of fungi on the air, the spore. Okay, and all those fungi spore is a million of them. Those spore, once they germinate, settle down on the leaf, and just a right moment, with the presence of the water or the moisture, and some of the bad fungi can germinate, and that's how they. And if you happen to have a wound, a cut surface, that's how they penetrate and germinate into what I call infection. Okay, so there are lots of time infection. For example, here. It's a perfect one. Okay, and this is the one we use for as a demo before. I know this is the one I actually got the crown rot. Can we focus on here? Okay, this is what happened right now. This is the perfect storm. Warm day, warm night is perfect environment. It's an incubation for PTN and Phytophthora. And if, especially some of the Phalaenopsis, the novelty, if the water stay here, okay, and this is and this is what happened. So, but the plant actually, well, first of all, I did not throw away the plant because number one, they have a very strong root system. So basically, if you have a good strong root system, the plant have a way to fight back. Okay, so I'm going to do this again. I think I did it last time. This is I love Fison. Okay, remember always the tips. I use. You don't even need a zip. I use the concentrated, not diluted. Okay, never put anything back there. I just anything I did not use, I just throw away. I use concentrated Fison inside, and that's enough. So I did it a couple months ago, right, Jeff? And I'm doing this again because it's very encouraging. I don't know if you can see this, but I actually see the new leaf coming out forming. See that? There's a new leaf coming. Okay. Okay, all right. And I'm going to show you this one here. This is even worse than before. This one didn't even have any leaf. And look at it. I think I would just love this.
We have to remind everybody what that was.
Huh?
That's one that was in the same stage as that other one. You did the treatment on it.
Yeah.
And then you did the keiki paste. Right?
Yeah, and we did a keiki paste. But this week, I'm just going to do 5 cent again, and next week we do a keiki paste 2-in-1. But this is the one that actually lost all the leaf. Well, we started like this, and eventually the crown. Well, this was the crown, and with the keiki paste is my 2-in-1 keiki paste right here. You actually can save the plant, and granted, again, you gotta have a good root system. And notice that I don't even water them. I haven't watered them for about 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, these are in moss, so the moss inside contain a lot of moisture. It's actually really light, but because there's no water, the plant are in their what I call the survival mode. Okay, they know they have plenty of water. The waters are actually stored in the root system. They know they have to do something, and then with the help of the keiki paste, the survival rate is to push out and put a keiki on this. All right. So
normally, you keep it dry then?
Yes. Okay. Anytime you have a crown rot, okay, well, I don't care what kind of. You don't need to have a degree in plant pathologist. Anytime of a crown rot infection, right away, concentrated 5 cent, drop it, and then set it aside. We put it there, and now I'm going to do what I did. I'm going to leave it here and forget about it.
And that is the exact same plant that you did about
two and a half months ago.
And
Yes.
It started the same way. It had leaves, crown rot. You did the treatment.
Yeah, and we're gonna. So we all going to follow that stage. Okay. On this one here. A lot of time, if a plant are, especially in my nursery, there's an image I showed you earlier, a trash can, because a lot of time we cannot just say if they have a bad infestation of insect, for example, it's actually for us cheaper to just discard them because that way, and a lot of time we have very valuable plant, and hey, anytime we have more than 5 plants, there's always what we call population pressure. That is a pressure for pest and disease. And so this is the one, again, I'm not going to water them. I'm going to keep them dry. We're going to leave it here. Okay. And a lot of people have posted have yellow leaf. Okay, there's 2 things about the yellow leaf. Okay, let's do this one here. This is the coffee. This is my stem prop or tetrapus coffee. Okay, I did not even discard them because this is valuable because they have a stamp. We have the new stamp. We can actually use it for tissue culture. We can cloning. We can also use it for breeding. But this is actually the victim. uh, about 4 weeks ago, one of the rotation that we do in the pest management, I also use a lot of this organic stuff. This is actually horticulture oil. Okay, we use the. This is very, out to my surprise, this actually got this damage, but this actually is my fault because what happened when we apply the horticulture oil, we always use the very what I call the keyword is called ultra fine, and to my surprise, this ultra fine horticulture oil still give the damage like this. It's not, and usually if you see the discoloration like this, okay, first of all, you can always just suspect maybe there's a mite damage under the leaf, but in this case, there is no mite damage. Okay, this is actually really a physiological discoloration. Okay, so this is what happened is, and I went back to see the ratio. The ratio is actually is we've been using for the ratio for a long time, and Tetrapolis is the species that should be tough enough. So sure enough, 2 weeks ago we noticed that batch, because the volume of the space we have, it did not got thoroughly water. So at the time of application, the moss was dry. The moss is probably dry. The moss color probably dry like this, really dry. So what happens when the plants are really dry? Okay, they're thirsty. The minute the moisture hit them, whether it's oil, fungicide, the plant is going to absorb a lot of material that you feed them. So this is why I always stress, always water the day before you fertilizer, or before you're doing application of pesticide, or if you're doing a 3-in-1 fungicide, that kind of stuff. And this is the result. Okay, so it's okay. The plant is not. It won't. It just I cannot sell them, but I can use it. If this is just a typical seeding, it's not as essential. They might get discard because we cannot afford for the plant seeding to sit there for another 4 years, 3 to 4 years before all the new leaf. I gotta have the new leaf all come up and then this fall off. So this is not sellable, but this is our propagation stock. So this is maybe that's why. This is part of the learn and listen. But with the COVID right now, we actually understaffed. Right now we have another staff on vacation, and one haven't the baby haven't come back yet. Anyway, so this is the reality. When you it's also actually I kind of envy when I used to grow orchid as a hobby when I was in high school. It's a lot easier. I don't want so many plants. I have a tiny little greenhouse, 100 square feet. But now I'm in the business of selling plant, and every day this is fixed cost. How many I don't even want to know what's my air bill or water bill going to be this month. It's been like one of the hottest August we have so far. Is this week going to be another 100 degrees. So we Roger, can you see the swamp cooler? We actually filming in front of the swamp cooler here. So this swamp cooler, the hot, cool, wet water come down. So this is a giant swamp cooler wall. They're constantly using a lot of water. And if you have to have a greenhouse that you use a swamp cooler, remember to put your swamp cooler reservoir fresh and clean, which means you actually can use the 5-cent solution into your reservoir of your swamp cooler. Elaine and Florida, I know you have a greenhouse in swamp cooler. Don't forget, do not use bleach. Never use bleach on your swamp cooler because that bleach will just kind of corrupt your galvanized steel in the greenhouse. But this is safe. Okay, so I use some of this into the swamp cooler and just let it run. So the swamp cooler will kill any algae, because a lot of time this can be a source of pathogen in the greenhouse, especially if you are in the tropic. You are in this Florida, Louisiana, where your summer is very moist, with inside and outside the greenhouse. Now, if you are indoor grow as a house plant grower, and also growing under light. Okay, a lot of time you have a tray, right? Jeff, do you use a tray? Okay. Remember, maybe every other month, or if you don't have time, just make up a solution of the 5 cent, a solution, or just let them, when you water your plant, some people like to take the plant away from the light stand, because every one of them, not every plant need to be watered. So maybe one of the month, you can just do the 5 cent, water everything from the top, and let the 5 cent solution go down to the potting media, and then with your catchment for your under light. Because with your under light, I usually, if you go under light, that tray of the stand, the reservoir, you should clean it up at least twice a year, every 6 months. Take all your plant out. You can actually water them plant really wet, and clean up the tray. Or if you are using saucer, the saucer need to be cleaned and disinfected too. If you are on my regular suggestion of the program, the 5 cent, a small teaspoon per gallon once a month as a watering, you should be okay, and you actually have better luck of less algae growing in your saucer tray, and so on. And so this is I'm always stressed on the prevention. A lot of prevention is actually a lot easier to do when you go with Jamie. When we all staff is not busy, when we have want to volunteer here, the most important thing we see is get a bucket. We have a bucket, go to the benches, constantly pick out the older leaf and all the flowers. So a lot of time, if the phalaenopsis, especially the novelty, okay, they are sequential flower, and with the Bonina and Violacea, when they are senesced, they don't drop off right away. I would just pinch them off. That would save a lot of energy on the plant. Okay, and a lot of time, this is between the season. Make sure your Paphiopedium. Do not let it, I don't like to leave it too long, because you don't want to cut it too tall and too short, but just cut right below here, but not so deep that you're actually going to damage the growing tips. Okay. So this way, always, I do not like the flower or the senescent flower, leave it too long. That way, you can actually get ready for the next new growth coming up. Now, what about this phalaenopsis here? This is the miniature. Okay, and this is not a sequential flower. In the summertime, this is time to do some root pruning. You see all this older leaf here. I want to cut this off, because what this is doing is they will become just decaying, and they will decaying. I want to cut off anything that on the surface that is non-functional. Okay. And you notice that this one is actually ready to water. This is very dry. In the moss, they all dry from the bottom up. But in the summertime, it's a lot easier to dry the media. So you also want to make sure that the moss is not over dry. And this particular one, Okay, the root is actually very, you notice that when you leave it on the dry side, it's actually going to encourage more root to come out because they're thirsty. So the root is telling the plant to say, okay, put a new root so I can search for water. Okay, all right. So this is one I'm going to make a decision to cut the spike off. I do not, because this is still a young plant and miniature. If I don't cut them off, this is not the novelty sequential flower. This have the equestria hybrid and amabilis. So if I don't cut it off, it's just hanging there. Or sometimes you might have a secondary spike coming up, but it's not worth it at this point. I just really want the plant to go into their vegetative stage, so that way they can have new leaf coming up. And I always check under the leaf is fine. Don't worry about this. The yellow leaf at the bottom is part of the growth process. It's the thinness. So don't go. A lot of people always got panic when the leaf certainly all of a sudden yellow. As long as they are at the bottom leaf, okay, you know, our tree and our shrub have dry leaf every single day. Drop it, okay. But if they are yellow on the top, like this, then you know you have a problem. Then you start go over what caused it. Are they dry? Are they maybe something you spray? Okay. Then this is in summertime also. It's a time that, for example, as I mentioned before, in Southern Colorado, our area here is called District of Monte Vista. In the wintertime, we have very good water quality from our own reservoir, from our local water here. But summertime, because it's so hot, we have import a lot of water from Colorado. Okay, so our pH in the summertime is about 8.5, very alkaline. And this is what happened when you got alkaline water. You see all this calcium deposit. This is from the water. Okay. You notice that where the plant first come out, it's very green, right? As they get older, all this calcium deposit will do it. So it's actually this is when, and I usually don't bothers me. It does actually. It doesn't bother me because in the summertime, like this one here is Phalaenopsis gigantea. What it does is it will cut down the light. Okay, so in the summertime, if you're hot summer month, I just leave it alone. But maybe if you go into orchid show, you have a compete for the orchid, then you can clean it up. You can wipe it up with soap, diluted soap, or even milk. But okay, so this is what happens if you get this right now. Okay, it's nothing wrong with it. It's just your water. So how many of you know the pH of your water from your? Okay, even if you have well water, sometimes you can get tested. I do read your water bill. You can it's free. You can just call your water company. Excuse me, it's really hot. Call your water company and read the analysis. There's a post in our podcast on our group earlier about using CalMag, calcium, magnesium. Okay, most of the fertilizer, including my fertilizer, do not have CalMag in there because calcium and CalMag doesn't really combine with most of the balanced fertilizer. Okay, so if you are using CalMag as a supplement, okay, I know a lot of people have a tendency to say, okay, I read something, okay, because somebody posted, I use calcium, magnesium, CalMag, calcium, magnesium, magnesium as a supplement. Yes, but a lot of time, I know my water here has them already. So if you have calcium, calcium and magnesium in your water already, and you supplement it, and be careful because I seen there's an overdose. You can have a mineral overdose. That's just like not right now. People is suggesting a lot of time people taking a lot of vitamin D. Well, guess what? All those extra vitamin D that we cannot use actually is toxic now to your body. Okay, so that can happen to plant also. So if you don't need the extra calcium and magnesium, don't use it. You actually asking for trouble. So the only way to know it is get your water report, and especially if you are under well water. The well water have a lot of mineral in there already. Who are the people who might need calcium extra supplement? Is the people has the reverse osmosis water, and I think that's why the Michigan State water is wonderful. A fertilizer formulation is wonderful. It's enough stuff, but if your water is really good like Michigan, but that some formulation doesn't work apply to across United States. I know the Michigan formulation doesn't work it will not work here because in the summertime our EC is so high and we only about our EC is about 0.8, just the water alone, just the water. So in theory, your EC should be lower than 1. Otherwise, you got fertilizer burn. Your root got burned. So that's why in the summertime, that's the reason I developed my own fertilizer, because the fertilizer that I use, this is actually very, very economical. This only was developed for me as a commercial grower. You only use a small teaspoon per gallon. It's really refined. When I say refined, yeah, this is not an illegal substance, but this is how refined they are. See here, it's so refined. This is almost like reagent grade. This is the highest grade you can use for agriculture. That when I use it in the summertime right now, I do not use a lot of drenching. When we feed them, we always do our EC test. Sometimes maybe 0.6, 0.8, and there are weeks I might get 1.2 just on the water alone. And so I was shocked. The other thing, yes, it happened. I have some EC just on the water alone. Went up so high because the water imported from Colorado, started with very, very good pure water. By the time they go through all the state and pick up all the mineral from all the rock, and this is why we don't need to use calcium, magnesium, CalMag as a supplement here. So this is why I always be careful. Don't read and say it's not fashionable. One thing will not fit for United States. We have so many. Only you know your own water and your water report from your city. Okay, so in the summertime right now, our EC is high. We do not use our water because for every 1 gallon of water or our own water, we waste 7 gallons. Okay, in California we have a drought right now, so this is why I think the summer bill of the water is going to be almost triple. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we have several questions.
Sure.
First, is for keeping the fall crown dry only for falls, or do you also do that with dendrobiums or whatever
you actually
else?
do that. You do that for the Paphiopedium too. Lady zipper. Anything that the water stay in the crown is, one thing about Pythian. I think remember, that's another good tips also. When you start using your water hose, okay. And this is why we went to college for horticulture. Anytime you have a standing water, more than on about 30 minutes, the Pythian will build up in the water. and Pythian is the one that Pythian and Phytophthora is the one that cause the fungi, soft rot. There's another soft rot right now in the summertime. Is the all of a sudden you see the leaf become soft and rotting. That's from warm day and warm night. Okay, so anything. So when you start using your water hose, okay, always remember. I always try to tell my staff too. Let it run off the first 2 minutes, because all the water staying inside the water tube probably have a lot of pythium built up. The plant itself, they have enough they can against it, but if I'm happen just when transporting the plant, I was touching it, you have a fingernail, I just have a small slide, and all they need is just that slide, and with the help of water, so the fungal spore, microscopic spore, can penetrate the cut surface, and that will cause the infection. Okay, any question?
Yes, Jackie Bravo is asking, can I mix Physon in my rainwater with fertilizer?
Jackie, I always say you never mix anything. You can mix it using rainwater with Physon, yes, but you never. I always say this, and I say this again. Trust me, I'm a chemistry major before. Even though sometimes a lot of people can, yeah, you can 10 mix. When I say the 10 mix is a term the pesticide applicator use. They will say, well, this pesticide and this pesticide or this fungicide is compatible. You can 10 mix together. Leave it to the professional. We are growing an orchid. They're doing a fruit tree. They're doing a turf, a grass. Okay, very different than what we grow. In special orchid, we have so many different kinds. So I always emphasize never mix Physon and Norman's orchid together, or any or Physon or any of your fertilizer. You know, people want to get busy. Everybody's busy, but that's why I always say 1 week of this and next week of this. So yeah, you can use your rainwater, but never use the fertilizer and the Physon together. No, because we don't know your pH or we do not know your pH or your water. pH will change a lot of the thing chemically. Okay.
Speaking of pH, Meredith would like to know, what is the best pH?
The best pH is 5.7. It's 5.7, and my water here is 8.5, and that's why the fertilizer, most of orchid fertilizer, especially my fertilizer, when I dilute a teaspoon per gallon of water, using my water right now, it brings the water down to about 5.7, 5.5, or 5.5. So the ultimate pH is always on the acid side, but not below 5. But the ultimate about 5 or 5.7 or 5. That ratio, and that bring along and to the next subject. I know I kind of hinted last week about the you can do pest control and organically using in your kitchen. We actually been. I would not recommend anything that I haven't tried myself, and my mom used to use this. How many of you have vinegar? But this is vinegar is actually been used for organic farming for years. But we like the apple cider vinegar. Okay, the apple cider vinegar have some enzyme that are actually beneficial to the plant. Okay, so. And I like this one. This I don't sell them. Anybody can go get it. Okay, get this one. Can you focus on this? It's raw, unfiltered. Okay. And I make the apple cider vinegar as a drink too. You know, it's very good for you. Everybody should have one in the kitchen.
Apple cider vinegar martini.
Yeah, but I don't drink. Okay, so what I do use this one for? I usually I use about a tablespoon and get 1 gallon of bucket. Okay, a tablespoon of this, and dilute in 1 gallon of water. So just get one of the 1 gallon milk bottle, shake it well, then you can use that as a spray. Okay, and I found that it actually, and when you spray, the low pH, mini bug don't like it. They might not cure it right away. Slowly, it's acid, it's vinegar, but do not use the regular other vinegar. Okay, there are some vinegar is not. You can make vinegar just really chemically, but it's not good. It might have some harmful to your orchid. But I do know this is been used by the organic vegetable grower. But I've been tested. I think 1 teaspoon is too low, not enough. A tablespoon is about average for Phalaenopsis, for Paphiopedium. If you're a Cattleya grower and a Cymbidium grower, it will depend on the leaf structure. You might can go up to 2 tablespoons. Okay, but I don't go that high. You also, you might want to get the pH of a high school. If you're a kid in high school, a high school pH stick, very inexpensive, and once you dilute it, okay, see how much the pH is. If it below 5, because I do not know the pH of your water. Okay, my water here, a tablespoon per gallon of water is about 5.7. Okay, and that is actually very good, and so does acid, but enzyme in there and the compound in the vinegar, they actually will prevent and eliminate your mite under the foliage, and that is also a solution, because the acid is actually very good to clean up the calcium deposit. Okay, all right, and I got to find out the formulation. There's a formulation for actually using the vinegar. Not this. This is too good for a more hardcore vinegar and bleach as a weed killer. Okay, in the greenhouse, please do not use Roundup as a herbicide. I know sometimes we have to. There's so many weed underneath. We want to. They want to use Roundup. Okay, for under the bench, clean up the weed, but do not do that in the winter time. Right now it's okay because it's dry. If you do that in the fall and the winter, guess what? You might see some of this happening, or the leaf drop, because the humidity from the fungus, from the Roundup, go up to the roof, and the high humid in the wintertime is cold and humid, right? And it drop that overnight and may come down here, and it'll kill your orchid too. If not kill the orchid on your Vanda or Cattleya, they might cause a discoloration. So never use Roundup inside your greenhouse. So that's why there's an organic way of weed killer. I think I posted. I will find you the formulation and I will post it on our group. But it worked because I told my friend in New Jersey, my intern, he said, "You sure it worked? They don't cure it right away, that Roundup, but you use it every 7 days, and about 2 or 3 application is gone." Okay, all right. So any more questions? So, and the second thing is, I want to stress enough also air circulation. There are some orchid, because the leaf structure like this banana. I want you to see the mildew. In the summertime, when it's hot, warm day and warm night, and banana itself, the leaf is very stick together. So, you know, we should have cleaned this. If I were you, so this is the one that, this is what happened when you had 1,000 plants. To avoid this, because this is not hanging. This is not, if this is hanging in the tilted in the way, they got a lot of air, so you might have less out mildew power. Since this is potted and they're on the bench, so they don't get as much air circulation. So the best way to avoid this is to spike them higher. You see here? So they can avoid laying on the leaf. So it's here. The mildew is actually coming up from the honey produced by the flower spike. So once you stake it, you got better air circulation, and I think the plant will present itself much better. We usually, before we sell the plant, the shipping up, the grower, they have a quality control. They actually go through them and use the vinegar water to clean this up. And this is actually, so if you see a mildew like this, it's part of the plant in the summertime. They have the honey, and the honey, this black, is the mold that attract to the honey. And over the winter, in the springtime, especially when right now we have warm day and warm night, and they give this mildew, and this is the deposit. Nothing wrong with it. So you can easily wrap it up, clean it. Okay, and you can also clean it up with a apple cider vinegar. You can clean out your deposit. So this is the deposit from the water, or sometimes could be pesticide. All right. So with the orchid leaf structure like that, especially Bonina and Violesia, they will kind of together, and this is where they can hide stuff here. So another way, if you have the styrofoam peanut at home from our packing material, put styrofoam peanut in between the leaf. That will increase the air circulation on this orchid, the Bonina and Violesia. Okay. And the summertime is this is the Jaho berry equestria hybrid, and this is the fun in the summertime when it's hot. They tend to have keiki, and this is the one I think I did it last time. We did it with keiki paste. Okay, a lot of time you can do summertime is also a perfect timing because you got a long day, warm day, and warm night, and a lot of your miniature, especially have the equestrian background, you can use the keiki paste at the tips of the spike. A lot of time they do it naturally. If they don't do it naturally, you can do it. You can enhance them that way. Okay, but this is the type of orchid that I can actually separate this right now, and you can start a new plant. But I think for this one here, the plant is strong. Okay, and I'm just gonna leave it alone. And what I'm waiting for is to have this keiki has flower spike and flower along, and it will make, because they have a new spike coming out. This is a new spike from this year, so then this is going to be put up a very spectacular show, and all this will flower. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. So the key thing also include the air circulation. Air circulation is also going to keep the leaf temperature cooler. And a lot of time, if you cannot, there's some orchid. Another way, not many people don't go. If you look at some of the old article, from 50, even the 30, Okay, this is the before the plastic is available. Plastic pot used to be very expensive, so people use clay pot. So clay pot actually is coming back to fashion again. I love clay pot because I cannot do clay pot, a lot of them. I use clay pot from my own stock plant or growing plant, especially in the moss. The clay pot let the moss dry out faster. And if you live in the area, moss, this kind of, especially there are some Cattleya, Amethyst, they love clay pot because some of the species, like especially Cattleya, the Wacadeniana, for example, the root that they be cool and moist. So clay pot is another solution. If you are live in the area, and I know Linda Earl always have problem. You know, Linda is in Virginia. Her greenhouse in the summertime, she always have a lot of challenge. So hot and humid. Yeah, being in a humid like Linda Earl in Virginia, you cannot really miss the leaf to cool the plant off. Because they're not going to work. That will only work in the desert, like in Vegas or California, where humidity is maybe 10%. If you in Virginia or in South Florida with really high humidity, your only chance to decrease the temperature and to help plant maintain the stress is the air movement. So this is the time in the summertime. Don't be thrifty on the air. Buy an extra fan. If you have problem with you're not able to cool the greenhouse, buy this big extra fan. Just put in. You can put on a timer. It doesn't have to be all 24 hours, but one fan should be 24 hours. But the second fan can be on a timer as a supplement. Maybe 2 to 6 o'clock, whenever it's a hottest day of in your house or in the greenhouse. That will increase the air circulation, and that will actually cool the leaf temperature about 10 to 50%. Is the stress that the temperature, anytime temperature is on the leaf is about 90 degrees. Once it hit 95 degrees, the plant stop growing. And anything above that, and with a high temperature, high light intensity, and if you poly media is dry, that's how you get sunburn. That was called heat stress. So just like us in the summertime, we drink a lot of water. Okay, so is your plant. Okay, so it's common sense. Whatever is comfortable for you will be comfortable for your orchid. If you're not even comfortable, I can always tell when I walk into a greenhouse, my assistant instantly says something wrong. So, because I do a lot of consultation, I do have some. One time somebody fly me on a private jet to Northern California for a private estate. The minute I walk in there, it's a very expensive greenhouse. Because I grew up with a greenhouse right away. I say it doesn't matter how expensive the greenhouse. A lot of time the greenhouse builder, they like to build fancy, look aesthetic, beautiful. But do they grow orchid? No, they just design it. They are engineered. Okay, just like a lot of fertilizer that on the market are compounded by the chemists. Do they actually test it on the plant, in vitro, in a test tube, and also in vivo in the greenhouse? No. That was my senior project when I was in Cal Poly. Okay, so right away I was able to point out there is a lot of bad design, the way that the greenhouse was built. Okay, you need to add extra fan on the roof. You need to do this, you need to do that, because the greenhouse have a lot of what I call the hot spot. They're not even. One end is 100, one end is 100 degrees. The other one coming out is like 80, 90, is freezing. And then the temperature is everything. They look pretty on paper, aesthetic, it's beautiful, but it's not a growing greenhouse. Okay, so you are the only one that you have to observe your plant. The plant is only one, they cannot talk to us, but they should show you, okay? A healthy plant should have a nice, glossy, shiny leaf. If your plant are kind of looking kind of dull, okay, we'll go over that another repotting session. They're actually telling you that I'm not happy with my mix. The mix is too old, too salty, maybe it's too decomposed, and never put organic fertilizer. Let me tell you, every time it kills me when people say, I'm going to use fish kale. That means algae from the ocean. Okay, it's called organic. Or fish bone. Okay, it's organic. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a chemistry major. I train as a scientist. We're looking for consistency. Okay, every batch of the kale, you cannot publish a scientific paper, say I'm using kale. The people are going to say
it's kelp, right?
Yeah.
Seaweed.
Yeah. The reason being, no, I'm very because are they from which ocean? Do you know how many different species of the seaweed? How did they process that? Are they cold water process? Because if they go into a steam of the processing, they kill all the beneficial stuff. So you might think that is benefit, but that's just a tiny little thing that left. But a lot of time, that's what people use when we don't have. That's what people use when it's 100 years ago. But now we have better stuff. Just like we don't want to go back to the old way with taking vaccine. We want the newest stuff, the newest. If when you taking vaccine, you want to get the best and made it in the United States, right? That it would have worked. All right. So this is why it always kill me when people read something. Okay, I'm going to try this. There's even one on horse tea. It's called made from horse manure. Yes, it's very famous in the Northeast. This guy swear by it. He grew up Bass Paphiopedium, but he used is aged horse manure. Well, tea is a nice fancy word to it. Please, people, don't kill me, because those have a lot of pathogen, okay? And they're gonna decompose your media. You're gonna invite more problem into your collection, okay? They're alone, if you're hopefully not doing it at home, okay?
For grass.
Yeah, it works for grass, but it's outside. Grass is grass, that's a different story. But I would not even put horse manure tea on my grass, okay? That actually gonna kill the grass. Okay, alrighty. Dr. Roger Lee has been funny. Okay, I think so. This is actually good. The key point is keep it under stress. But I know if you have a mite problem, preventative is more important. Elaine, maybe try this. In addition to what you have, a lot of time at home, just try to use this as one of the program. I know your room is going to smell that vinegar. It makes you really hungry. But it works. But it's actually for many people who are sensitive to bleach. I know we use bleach sometimes to use to clean the algae, or if you temporarily run out of 5 cents. Okay, this is the solution. Okay, so it's something from the kitchen. Is raw. It's only raw, unfiltered apple cider. This is the only one, because there are some cheaper apple cider vinegar. It's chemical make. It doesn't have the enzyme from the apple cider. It's wonderful. Okay, and this will complete this section. And I do not have a lot of show and tell, but just